All right, we're ready to call the meeting to order at 7:09. We all set, Scott?
Just let me, yes, you're set, but let me turn the projectors on.
Projectors on, okay.
And then you can.
And then we're ready to go?
Sure.
All right. We'll wait for the projectors to be turned on, then we will say the pledge, and I will ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence after the pledge. Just as soon as we're ready. All set?
Yeah, those will be.
Okay. All right, we'll start with the pledge. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Nix, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please stand for a moment of silence to remember those who were tragically killed and harmed in the Highlands Ranch STEM School. Thank you. Please be seated. It's a sad day when we have to start out our meetings remembering the children who are put to harm's way just when they're trying to get their education, and why South Country School District takes its security of its students very seriously. So thank you for that acknowledgement. So we are on to thanking you for attending the Board of Education meeting. The school community members who wish to address the board will need to complete a yellow card and submit it to the district clerk. Public commentary is only going to occur one time this meeting, and it'll be right after the budget hearing. So if you have something that you'd like to add after you hear the budget that you haven't thought of now, simply go to the clerk and ask for the card and fill that out, and we'd be happy to hear from you at that time. Also remind you that in the event of an emergency, please take note of the emergency school exits. Exit through those doors in an orderly fashion. And as a final reminder, the school is on, and the entire campus here at South Country is a smoke-free school district. Smoking is not permitted in the building or anywhere on the school grounds. Having said that, we have the introduction of candidates who are running for school board, which the superintendent will introduce.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. And while I call your name, if you would just please stand and be acknowledged. First, we have Melissa Aruda. I think I saw everybody walking. James Ford. Ann Hayes. Karen Johnson. Clyde Parker. Sean Patrick Reese. Christine Magnola. And Cameron Trent. Welcome. Move on to the hearing.
We'll move on to the budget hearing. Just a quick word, just congratulations to all of you for stepping up. It is a big task to stand up and step out for the school board. It is something that those of us here have taken a lot of pride in doing so, and it's a job that is very rewarding. So good luck to you all.
And moving on to the budget hearing and the presentation of our three-part budget, I introduce to you Dr. Burgess.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is the final piece of the budget before the vote. This is its 8th presentation. You've seen or endured the last 7 since the end of January, but this, as required by law, is the 3-part budget which presents the proposed budget to the community in the administrative, capital, and program components, as mentioned. So to kind of illustrate it from year to year, the admin component is comprised of the Board of Ed, administration, finance, legal, personnel, insurance, curriculum development, supervision, research, and the employee benefits associated with that. We see that the year-to-year increase is about $343,000, just a little bit over. And again, this is just the administrative component or the area that runs the district. Pictorially, it's 14,728,691 to 15,071, and it's just a slight increase in percentage from 11.15 to 11.2. The capital component, this is the brick and mortar, the lights, what operates the building on a daily basis, the plant, employee benefits, and the debt service. That amount is $19,344 for next year, also a slight increase, about $350,000. Our nice chart illustrates that it's actually pretty flat in comparison to the overall total of the budget at 14.37%. Now, the largest piece of the budget is the educational component, or the program piece. This is instruction, transportation, any employee benefits associated, and the transfer to the special aid fund, which is the monies used to supplement the summer special ed program. Obviously, the instructional piece, which is without supervision, is the large expense. That's teaching staff, those are the aides, those are anyone associated with the classroom portion. Year to year, we're looking at a 1.75 approximate increase overall in the budget. And on the graph, we see that it's 74.43%. So it's just about the same when you compare the total projected cost to the overall budget. The tax levy limit to review, it's the 8-step calculation starting from the prior year tax levy, multiplied by the state growth factor that's given to us, any payments in lieu of taxes, then we add our 2% levy growth factor, the lesser of 2% or CPI. CPI again was slightly higher, plus any what are anticipated pilots for 1920. So our maximum level of tax levy at $62.24 million, or 3.36%. Our property tax report card is the document that we submit to the state the day after the budget vote, which illustrates what we are planning to spend and what our tax levy is projected to be. And year to year, we see that 132, 158 is the current year's operating budget. Next year, our operating budget is projected at 134, 600, 063. The budget to budget increase is 2.442 million, or 1.85%. That's on the budget side. The revenue side, the tax levy is anticipated at $2,022,996, with a projected tax levy increase of 3.36%, which is the levy limit. To break down the revenue a little bit further, as I mentioned, the top line is the tax levy. Our state aid, which we received at the very end of March, is $57,125,005. Our payments in lieu of taxes, which I mentioned previously, is $7.9 million. The reserve appropriation, that is the appropriated fund balance, this year's funds to offset next year's levy. The board moved to allocate $3.9 million, which is a decrease, which is also in the right direction from the previous year. We're not relying on current year's money to offset next year's. And then our miscellaneous revenue, which includes other reserve appropriations and other funds, other payments, is $3.4 million. So our total revenue, which balances the expense side, is $134,663. And to graphically illustrate, the majority of monies raised to fund the budget comes from the tax levy, which is 46%. Our state aid is a close second at 42%, although there's about a $3 million difference between the two numbers. Our fund balance is about 3%. Our pilots, our payments in lieu of taxes, is about 6%, and our miscellaneous revenues are about 2.5%. So the total of that is 100% that make up the revenue. So how do we contain costs? Evaluation of all expenditures at both the building and district levels, which translates to when does the budget process start, and more or less it starts at the beginning of the school year. The independent claims auditor reviews every expenditure and at times has to reject or question RFPs, requests for proposals, which you've had a few this year. using the best value provision for purchases, the BOCE's bidding, municipal services, cooperative purchasing, they're all under the same umbrella. Membership in NYSER, the insurance reciprocal, which has been very, very good with the district. A fuel cooperative, gas cooperative are applying for grants and allocating funds to grants when we can to offset some of our general fund expenses. Refunding of existing debt, which we did 3 years ago. Management leading to strong bond rating and exploring new streams of revenue on an annual basis. Now, the impact of the STAR program, just to briefly go over, STAR is the New York State Tax Relief Program that provides partial exemption from school property taxes for owner-occupied primary residences. I believe it's in its 20th year. I think it was done in the late 1990s. Each homeowner who applies for the basic STAR program will receive a reduction in their assessed value and their school property taxes, and any homeowner over the age of 65 can apply for what's known as the Enhanced STAR program, which allows for a greater exemption based on their income. The projected amounts for next year, as given to us by New York State, the average South Country resident for the basic STAR program is $430. As of now, we know that there's just under 4,000 households that have applied or are eligible to receive that. And for the STAR Enhanced for the senior program, the exemption is $980, and on the books there are approximately 827 households. So if you don't have STAR, I strongly recommend going to your assessor's office and filling out the application. And what does it mean for the average homeowner? The proposed budget amount, tax levy, as I said, 3.36%. The average home assessment at $2,700. The increase based on the tax levy increase and the proposal is approximately $149 per year. And the average home assessment is provided by the town of Brookhaven. And what happens if the budget is defeated on May 21st? There are two options. We can resubmit the same proposal or a revised proposal for a revote on June 18th. And just to mention, June 18th is a state designated day. It's not an arbitrarily chosen day. Or option two is to adopt a contingent budget, which means it's a 0% tax levy for the 1920 school year, which means we use the same amount raised in 1819 for 1920, which obviously would come with a lot of reductions and modifications. I said all that without clicking. What would our contingent budget look like? Using an appropriation of $3.9 million from our fund balance, which is the same amount that we allocated for this coming year, the budget would need to be reduced by approximately $2,022,996. So voting for the 1920 school budget, capital reserve proposition, and election of trustees will occur on Tuesday, May 21st, 2019, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Last year was 7 a.m., so there is an extra hour for the vote at Belport Middle School. To briefly go over the propositions, the first one on the ballot will be the school budget, which we just went over. The second will be the capital reserve expenditure, which is focusing on Kramer Street Elementary for the windows and the vestibule. And proposition 3 is the liquidation of the property loss and liability reserve, which was discussed previously by the board. And our budget brochure in both English and Spanish will be up on the website shortly, and the 6-day notice should be in homes by the weekend.
All right, thank you, Dr. Burgess.
Yes, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? What's the one? Well, actually, first I was asking of the board, and then we'll get to public commentary. But you can fill out the card now. If anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask, fill out the card with the clerk, or we'll have a discussion with the board now. Okay?
I mean, I would just like to thank Dr. Burgess and administration for a very clean-cut budget cycle, which it was a beautiful thing, and I really appreciate all the information. I'm really excited about the busing for our pre-K students, which I know Trustee DeSanto feels the same way. She was a strong advocate for that for many years. So I'm really thrilled that that was finally able to come to fruition.
Dr. Griffin, anything? Okay. Mrs. Sandra?
Well, I'll reiterate what I had said a few meetings ago. This actually was one of the most pleasant budget experiences I've had in the 10 years that I've been on the board. And of course, thanks to Dr. Gurgis and the planning that has gone on with previous boards to bring us to this point where we are probably one of the most fiscally sound districts I see in any of the surrounding area. So we're very fortunate not only that we have a sound budget, but we've been able to do that while not only maintaining programs, but actually with so many things that other districts don't have. You know, we have some of the smallest class sizes, we have probably the largest percentage of teaching assistants. We have so much support staff to be able to truly allow each and every one of our students to succeed at whatever they choose to do with their education. So I am so happy to see that we're at this point, and I'm looking forward next year to adding a few more things that I think we can manage because of our good fiscal planning that would once again enrich the experience for all of our students. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sandra. All right, so I have a few prepared remarks about the budget that I'll save for closing. And now we'll go to public commentary. So just an FYI on public commentary. There's a 3-minute limit. Since we're about the budget, I don't anticipate anyone will be asking personnel issues, but should they do so, we don't discuss personnel issues in public. And if your question requires a short answer, well, you know what, this is a budget hearing. We'll answer those questions at this point. So first up is Christine Magnola. You can step right to the podium here, please. There's no microphone. They're all around the room.
I just had a really simple question anyway.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, regretfully, I wasn't here for a meeting when you discussed the propositions, so I didn't know if you would be able to go over them or let us know perhaps where we can find them online. I tried to check, but I don't have internet service here, so
Sure
you can
did.
maybe direct us where we can.
I'll do it quick, but first I'm going to ask a question. Did the mailer go out? Do we have a few that we can just get?
I know I have one in my office, I can
One's
check.
on.
I can check the mailroom, but I do know that the propositions are on the mailroom.
Yeah, I know, that's why I was thinking we can grab maybe 10 of them and just hand them out.
Oh, okay.
So the sixth-day mail that Dr. Gurgis referred to earlier that'll be home this weekend has an explanation of all the propositions in it, in both English and Spanish. But to give you a very quick, brief one, Proposition 1 is the budget, the money. Proposition 2 is the request to expend $2.3 million out of capital reserve to do the Kramer windows, doors, and the security vestibule. Proposition 3 is the liquidation of a liability reserve. Liability reserve that was established 1990,
I think 2009.
2009, and it's a reserve that may very well have been needed at that time. However, it's no longer needed because we have insurance that covers that. So the board is asking the public to authorize liquidating that account, putting that $490,000 into the general fund, and to use it for any legal purpose necessary. Maybe building improvements, that's something that the board will have to decide later this year.
And just to the point of the capital reserve, that's money that is already in that reserve fund, so it's not any extra tax burden on the district. It's there, and we just have to request permission to use it.
Okay, and then does that go to the public for a vote, how you use it?
Yeah, that's Proposition 2.
That's what's in the proposition.
Oh, okay.
Exactly where it will go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
All right.
On the slip.
Just for a point in the future, when we have information available, I think we usually
At the
add
hearing?
some things out. Yes, so
Sure.
we might have forgotten to do that.
Is he gonna make copies?
No,
Tonight?
we can, if you want to do it.
Yeah, yeah, run them
So
all.
we'll make some copies of the notice that goes home this weekend, and you can pick them up on the way out.
Does anybody else wish to address the board? All right then. So then I will, that was all we had on the agenda, correct?
That's
Yes,
correct.
okay. So then I will just read to you what my prepared remarks are about the budget, and to echo the comments that were made here by the Board of Trustees already, that we take great pride in presenting the budget to the taxpayers. We know that taxpayers worry day in and day out about the expenditures that they have, and we want to make sure that what we present to you is of absolute necessity in the district, and we believe in this case it is. So, so to the community, the Board of Education and the district administration proudly presents this budget for your approval. We also, this budget comes at a time when the State Education Department has granted its final approval for the construction of the security vestibules at Brookhaven and Vern Kritz. We also will be adding a Kramer Street security vestibule, and security is our #1 priority and something that we will make sure happens for all of our schools. The board continues to hold safety as our #1 priority. You saw what was presented already, that this is a budget that is $134,600,000. Enhances the quality of education while remaining within the allowable tax limit. The 1920 budget is program-driven, offers small class sizes, maintains and enhanced programs, supports the fine and performing arts and interscholastic athletic offerings, and continues to support the cadet corps program and the K through 12 intervention programs. A significant achievement for this budget is the creation of the new pre-kindergarten center at the South Haven School, now known as the South Haven Early Childhood Development Center. The school will house the district's robust pre-K program with the much-anticipated student transportation included in this budget, should this budget be approved. So if we want transportation for that pre-K center, the budget would have to be approved to do so. Also maintained is the newly implemented dual-language magnet program at Brookhaven Elementary. Provides all district students starting kindergarten who apply the opportunity to learn core subjects in both Spanish and English to become bilingual and biliterate by the 5th grade. Voters will also be asked to support the 3 propositions which were just outlined for you. The second proposition, just to go into a little more detail, the first proposition being the budget, but the second is to expand its $2.3 million project from the district's capital reserve. The voters established that reserve fund in 2016 to address the infrastructure at Kramer Elementary, including a 110 square foot exterior vestibule that will be constructed below the school's existing canopy structure, and the repair and placement of all windows throughout the building. Passage of this proposal will not result in any additional tax increase, as the monies are presently available in the capital reserve fund. And the third and final proposition will ask voters to approve the liquidation of the district's property loss reserve fund previously established in June of 2009. With voter approval, money from this existing fund totals $490,451. That would be transferred into the general fund to finance any long-term district initiatives as permitted by law. And finally, and this is for all our board candidates in the audience, voters will be asked to elect 3 members of the School Board of Education for 3-year terms, commencing on July 1st, 2019 and expiring on June 30th, 2022. And 1 additional member will fill the trustee vacancy that was left vacant when Ms. Hunt had to move from the district. And that term, that last person who receives the vote, the 4th vote getter, will be sworn in May 22nd and will finish out the balance of Ms. Hunt's term, which goes through June 30th, 2021. Does anybody have any questions on that for the trustees that are running? You understand that? So there'll be 4 positions altogether. 3 will be elected to a 3-year term. The 4th will be elected to the balance of the vacant term. So having said that, And to echo the comments again that were made by the Board of Trustees, we urge all residents to make an informed decision before casting your vote on Tuesday, May 21st, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Bellport Middle School on Kramer Street. I'm sorry?
6 a.m.
What did I say? I said 9? 6 a.m., that's a new time. As was mentioned earlier, formerly we started voting at 7 a.m. It was requested by a number of members on the Board of Education to increase the amount of voting time and to allow people for that drive time before work to get to the voting. So it's going to be 6 a.m., correct?
Yes.
To 9 p.m. I stand correct. And everybody knows where Kramer Street is and the middle school. So reminding you that it is important that you vote. All the information about the budget will be located on our website. The mailing that is required by law to go out to your homes, do you have it? It's getting there?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
copies?
The copies?
Yeah, they're out
It's
on
its
the
way?
table.
Okay. So there will be a copy for everyone's here that is here to take with you tonight. And that will be in the mail by the required time, but that is going to be what is required to submit to you by law. The details of the budget will be available to you online. And
Very short.
And you can take very shortly.
Yeah.
So you can take a look at that on our website. I would like to, and then this, this information will be distributed out on behalf of myself, Cheryl Felice, President of the Board of Education, on behalf of the Board of Education. And I would also like to thank personally Dr. Gianni for the work that he has done in giving us the information we needed, making the requests that the board have come to fruition, and bringing those projects that sometimes had to wait. We couldn't get busing in last year, but it was a commitment that he made to this board that he would get it in the budget for this year, and we worked hard to make sure that happened and unanimously supported that proposal. So we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot more ribbon cutting ceremonies that will take place for next year. We had many this year, and we look forward to a successful year for 2019 to 20. So that concludes our presentation for the budget hearing, and without any further ado, we can take a motion to adjourn.
Just a
Is there a motion?
actually a question, clarification.
Question.
For anyone here or anyone watching, will the actual copies of the budget also be available at various places in the community as we've done in the past?
We were going to do that at requests at the buildings. So if someone requested a hard copy, they would be available. We would print them, yes.
So I know sometimes we've had them physically here at district office, at the buildings, and also believe they've been at
And
the
also
public
other
library.
locations. Sure, okay.
So-
Yeah, we can do that.
I think that would be a
So
good
we'll make-
thing.
okay.
Boys and
we
Girls
should
Club
let people
Library,
aware of
yeah,
that,
right.
yes.
So as we have done in the past, we will make hard copies of the budget available here at district upon request, and also at our local schools and libraries and Boys and Girls Club, you said as well?
Yeah, we have a list of about 7 or 8.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to have those if people can.
The superintendent is going around to the various PTAs with the road show. Some of us will be joining him as we meet with the PTAs. And then also the final presentation of the budget will be presented to the leadership committee, which will happen on Monday, May 13th, right here in the district, in this room at 10 a.m. So we get around to the different communities, to the different schools to meet with the parents there. So if anybody wants to pass the word to your PTAs and to the parents in those schools, we will be at those various schools. Could we publish that online too, please? Is it?
We will, if it's not, we will.
We'll make sure that's out
Yeah.
there again too. All right? Okay. That concludes our meeting tonight. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and thank you for those who tuned in live stream. Question? Motion to adjourn. Motion by Dr. Griffin, seconded by Mr. Nix. All those in favor? Thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. And now I can go to a fashion show.